Welcome back, Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy, and today I have for you the Shieldon Knives TORTANK. The TORTANK comes in at $95. It's a nice full-size EDC knife with a beautiful 67 layer Damascus with a core of a 9CR18 MOV. That's the same stainless steel that Civivi uses a good bit. And I find it performs well for a budget style knife or anything under $100. Let's get some specs out of the way so you have an idea of the size of this knife. Like I said, it's a full size knife with a total length of 8 5/8 inches, a blade length of 3 3/4 of an inch, a grip area from here to here of 4 1/8 inches, handle scale thickness of 0.62 inches, so it's pretty chunky here. Close width in the pocket from here to here of 1.29 inches and a blade stock thickness of 0.12 inches with a behind the edge thickness of around 20 thousandths, sharpened at 20 degrees per side. All right, let's take a closer look at this. You have that nice Damascus. I'm not sure what the pattern is called, but it's got a nice medium etch on it. You can feel the etch. It's not super dark. You have a polished blade underneath, so it gives it a nice attractive visual. Hopefully that's coming through nicely on the camera. Yeah, let me know if my sound quality's okay, because I am doing this in the garage right now where I do the testing. The only thing I did notice on the finish is right here, but I didn't check that before the testing. That might have occurred during the testing, so I'm not even sure if it's showing up on the top of the flats right there. You have a nice blade shape here, kind of like a reverse tanto or sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it. It is one thing I did notice is it excelled in anything I did with the slicing motion. You have that nice full belly, pretty much the entire length of the blade, and it performed nicely. It cut pretty much everything without any issues, held an edge the entire time, and was a joy to use. You have two thumb studs on this, nice and comfortable. You have a sharpening choil right here that does clear the plunge line just by a smidge, but it clears it. You have some billboarding here. You have the name of the knife, TORTANK. The designer's Django. The model number is 7091D, and on this side you have the Shieldon Knives logo with their name underneath. No jimping up here, but a nice flat spot to put your finger, nice and comfortable. I didn't have any problem slipping off. The action on this knife is outstanding. Nice fall shut, nice snappy on the light switch. You can do a light switch / push button if you would like, but I find it much more comfortable to do the light switch. And it's riding on ceramic bearings and a ceramic detent ball. Very silky smooth action. Pops out once it breaks that detent. This is a very fidgety knife. You can easily spidey flick it. The access to the thumb studs are nice because of this nice little cutout in the choil area. Very snappy action. And the detent is perfectly dialed in for both flipper, and look at just a couple little shakes and it goes home, and the thumb studs. So not the easiest task to get right, especially on a budget knife. Usually it's either a stiff detent where it comes out nice with the flipper tab and you can't use the thumb studs, or it's too soft and you can barely get it out with the flipper tab. But here it comes out nicely no matter what you use, flipper tab, thumb studs, whatever's your go-to. It's very comfortable. Close it back up. You have some nice looking, this is like it's a G10 with carbon fiber woven in it. I think it gives it a nice visual effect. You have the light that dances off the carbon fiber, and you have a nice smooth texture here. Not like a full-on polish, but it's nice and smooth to the touch. You do get some added grip with the jimping here and the jimping down here from your hand sliding. You also have that flipper tab acting as a guard if you're, pushing forward so you don't slide up on that blade and cut your hand. Your pivot has a pivot collar right there that's gray, and then a raised pivot ring that has basically been milled out of the handle scale material, and it kind of has like a rope look to it. So definitely started with a bigger chunk of handle material that they've milled out to create that raised lip like that. The handles, the pivots T8, the body screws are T6. You have a lanyard hole that could fit 550 cord through. Your pocket clips also T6. You have a deep carry, right hand tip up only. It rides well in the pocket. The pocket clip has been recessed into the handle scales. A lot of companies don't get that right. And the clip screws have been countersunk, so you're not going to hit, whenever you're putting this in the pocket, it'll go all the way to the end without getting snagged on anything. So that's nice that they did this. Let's check it out in the pocket. I found that you have enough ramp to clear most materials. Goes in the pocket nicely, and completely buries itself into the pocket. It does kind of bow out a little bit, so if you put stuff in your pocket, it's going to take up a little bit more of your pocket. The way it sits, it's not sitting flat up against the side of the seam of the pants, but it comes in and out nicely. I think it maybe could have used a little bit more retention, because it is a thinner clip and it has a good bit of spring to it. And these smooth scales, I don't know if you've caught it on something, if it would rip it out of your pocket or not sure. The knife came perfectly centered and remained that way throughout all the testing and everything I did with it. With these scales having a nice contour, nice little smooth radius going all the way across, I found that this handle was very, very comfortable. The ergonomics were good because you don't have any crazy choils back here. Now you do have this choil right here. My finger fits in perfectly. These thicker scales really filled out the hand nicely, and I wasn't getting fatigued when I cut. And just about everything, even the wood, which sometimes, will either fatigue my hand or something will start biting into my hand, I had no issues. It was very, very comfortable. That's where this knife excelled for me. And let's check out the liners. The liners have been coated with that titanium coating. It's like a grayish color. You do have skeletonization at the bottom and at the top. Hopefully you can see that. Flip it over this way if you want to see. There it is on the top, and there it is on the bottom. The knife's balanced right here in this choil area, and it does feel good in the hand. It's not front heavy or back heavy. It just feels nice. Makes it feel lighter than it actually is. Let's check out the weight. All right, 4.87 ounces. I didn't have any issues carrying it. It carried nicely, and that weight's good for me for that size of a knife. The lockup on the knife is sitting at around, I don't know, I'd say 40%, and it's very, very solid. Absolutely no play in any direction whatsoever. And the access to that lock bar is nice because of this cutout in the choil, and you do have some jimping on the lock. So it's very, very easy to get to, and it's not showing too much to where when I grip it, I'm pushing that lock at all. They did a good job on that. All right, let's do some quick size comparisons. First, we have the Ontario Rat 1 and the Rat 2. It is pretty much the same length as an Ontario Rat 1. It's a little bit shorter, not by much. And we have the Spyderco PM2 and the Para 3. Closer to the PM2, but the TORTANK is a little bit longer. All right, nitpicks and complaints. I could do without the extra billboarding. I don't need the name of the knife or the designer. I don't even need the model number. That can all be put on the box. just the Shieldon logo's good for me, and the blade steel stamping is always something good to have on the blade. But other than that, I don't. This stuff doesn't, especially on a nice, Damascus blade. I don't think it's really needed. Also, jimping behind flipper tab for me is always a gripe. I can't stand whenever there's jimping back here. Now, I will say, even though there is jimping back here, I flipped this thing over and over and over, and it didn't really bother me. It's not super sharp jimping or anything, and it has that coating on it, so it's not like it ripped up my fingers. But it could have been, really uncomfortable if it was sharp. It's just not really needed there, because whenever I'm using it in a saber grip, I'm usually up here or in this little scoop area. I never really sit back like this on the knife. I don't know, for grip, more so this, but this really isn't needed. I felt locked in the whole time. And one other thing, this is just, personal preference. I like the pivot ring, the pivot collar they put around the pivot, but the ring around there, I could do without that. It's okay, but I know that, is probably adding in cost as well, because you got to mill out a bunch of material to get down to that. So I could definitely leave without that. And something I think they already are addressing, it came with that pocket slip, or like a Velcro slip thing, and I could do without that to bring the price down as well. Overall value, I'd say the quality is definitely here. The fit and finish is on point. I think it looks nice. They did a good job with the Damascus. The action is very, very nice. It's very silky smooth. The detent styled nicely for both deployments. It sliced well, held an edge well, and the ergos were outstanding. $94. I don't know the going rate for the 9CR like Civivi does, but I don't think that's too over the top. I would have liked to see it at around $80. I think that would have been great. But 94, I don't think that's too far of a stretch. If you like the overall aesthetics and you want a comfortable knife, with good action that still slices well, especially if you're trying to get into a Damascus blade and you don't want to spend a ton of money for something you want to use, then I think this is a good choice. I got another Shieldon knife coming up that probably my favorite that they sent me. Really, really enjoyed it. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. It'll be a few knives from this one. I don't want to put them all in at the same time. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an outstanding day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.